My name is Maarten Braber. I'm co-founder of Singularity U, the Netherlands, and we focus on educating people about exponential, so fast-growing technologies. So our vision is that the increasing speed of exponential technology, or increasing speed of development of technologies, is making a lot of changes happen, especially because these changes, the speed of developments in different domains is now coming together. So the convergence of all these domains working on technologies, but also the applicability from one domain, for example in robotics, which is now also being applied in healthcare and which can be applied in mobility, for example, is further increasing the speed of those technologies. And what we're trying to help people understand and envision is how those increasements in speed and developments can be used for good. So what can we do that really helps solve what we call humanities grand challenges? So the challenges that we really need to think about: how do we keep a big enough supply of water? How do we increase the demand, or how do we deal with the increased demand for food and other things? So those kind of challenges is what we're trying to solve. We're trying to kind of educate and empower people to have an informed debate. So what are the possibilities, what are the consequences also, and who is driving those forces? And if you really want to have an informed debate as such, that will need you to understand who the drivers and who the people driving these changes are, including this community here today, but also external forces, people acting on their own right now, for example the DIY, do-it-yourself communities. All of those changes in terms of who is driving this is very important to look at and to understand. It's extremely important to bring together people from different fields, because the applicability from one field to another is becoming increasingly easy to do in a way. Because, for example, things are developed as software or things are developed as patterns that can be reused. And that reusing of patterns and software and building blocks is allowing other sectors to profit from the developments of things such as the healthcare field, which can benefit from the developments in the mobility field. And all those crossovers are extremely important, because now that if you can step back a little and understand the applicability of those fields, helps to further change those fields and tackle all these challenges that we're thinking about. Well, it's increasingly a combination of a social challenge with a technological challenge. And you cannot do either or. So you will have to understand both challenges. You have to understand the technology, but the social part of it is also who is working on this and why, and who is driving this and why. Because if it's just for the good of making better profit for a company, it's a very different approach that you will take than when you're doing it to solve really challenges that we need to solve. And that's also what we actually help companies to think about in different ways, is how do you incorporate those two things, doing a sustainable business in a thriving way together with doing good, and bringing those two together, which we strongly believe and have seen that is actually doable, and it's very worthwhile. How do you do such, how do you tackle challenges in such a way? That's what we help people and companies understand. Well, the coming 5 years, I think it will be even more communities and people in sort of what I always call the unusual suspects being involved in developing these technologies. And so it's very important not to only look at the companies and the networks that you know, but especially widen your vision towards other sectors and other people. It will definitely furthermore increase, but I also think that we'll have some kind of a shakedown of things that are just only for profit and not contribute a lot, to things that both are great and contribute a lot towards tackling these goals in the near future. I would think that I think that we sometimes underestimate the huge amount of work that's being done in this group and in this community. So I think it's very good to be appreciative of what's happening here, that this is a very important part of the driving forces behind all of these technological developments, as well as that I would really try to help people understand to sometimes zoom out a little bit and to envision where the things that you're working on are going towards, and to understand that you, for example, have to look at partnerships beyond your current scope, and I hope that we'll see much more of that in the future.